Welcome to the Loud Little Ducky. We know with teens and social media these days that these two things mixed together can be scary to parents everywhere. Today, we are going to talk about a story in Bill City, Michigan that happened in 2020 that involves teens and cyber stalking. Netflix just put out this documentary, Unknown Number, The High School Catfish, on August 29th, 2025. There is going to be spoilers in this video, so if you haven't seen it, maybe go watch it and come back, or you can listen and then maybe this makes you want to go watch it. This documentary, well, the documentary itself was kind of done well because for most, the ending shocked everybody. And they have this person in the documentary going through, like, they're just a normal person telling the story of what was happening. These teens are describing what was happening to them. The parents are describing it. The superintendent, the principal, law enforcement are going through and telling this story. And then the twist comes when one of those people that has been acting like they are a victim in all this ends up being the person who did it. But throughout the documentary, you don't know that. And so this person, you can see how good and stuff that they can put on this face and act like this was something happening to them, which, I mean, I guess technically it is, but you just act like you were affected by this person that was unknown, and you act like a victim of this when you were the perpetrator of it. And that's the interesting spin on this, and why jaws are on the floor is the way the documentary was done. I think it was done for entertainment purposes the way that they did it. And but you're like, man, this person is really deceitful. So something I also want to say is I'm going to put a trigger warning as well, because we are going to talk about bullying. We're going to have discussions about unaliving, and there's going to be some sexual discussions and messages and stuff that we're going to talk about as well, that are just gross. But if any of that stuff is triggering for you, you can skip this video and come back to another one where we don't talk about this and these intense topics. I'd rather you take care of your mental health than watch something that's not good for you. But let's dive in to Unknown Number, the High School Catfish. So this is Lauren Liccardi. She is pretty much the main person in this. And she is, I believe, a freshman. She's about 14 years old when a lot of this cyber stalking started, and it was Halloween of 2020 when it all started. And so she's a typical teen, she's starting high school, She has her friends, probably, has a boyfriend, all this stuff. She has a very active mom and dad that are in her life. Her mom even coached sports that she was in, um, just very active. And so she had started getting text messages around this Halloween time because there was another girl who we'll talk about later who had a Halloween party and didn't invite her. And so, right around that time, she started getting some weird messages. Um, and then they stopped. And then 11 months later, the messages start up again. And they are vile messages. They are horrible. We will get to those in a minute. Okay. So, I said that Lauren had a boyfriend, and she does. It is Owen McCary. Now, these two have known each other since they were about 12 years old. Um, and the school that they went to apparently actually had kindergarten through 12th grade all in one school, or maybe they were all in the same property, um, or they were just in separate sections. But like I said, it's a small town that this happened in. And so these two have known each other for a long time. They started dating about a year before this all started, when they started getting these crazy texts, because these text messages were coming in a group text message form. So Owen would get them and Lauren would get them. I'm not sure if anybody else was in that group message form or if later they were added or something, but Lauren and Owen and this unknown person it was sent in a group text. And the person, it started around Halloween. And like I said, Lauren wasn't invited. Owen was invited to the Halloween party. Um, but he kind of wanted, if she couldn't go, then, you know, but here is kind of where the texts start. And it says, "Hi, Lauren. Owen is breaking up with you. He no longer likes you and hasn't liked you for a while. It's obviously he likes me. He laughs, he smiles, he touches my hair. Not sure what he told you, but he is coming to the Halloween party, and we're both down to fuck. Okay? You're a sweet girl, but I can give him what he wants. Sorry, not sorry." And so those were the ones around the Halloween party. And then, like I said, they stopped for 11 months. Then, after 11 months, new messages started coming in, such as, "How's the happy couple? Preparing for the end of the golden relationship?" A new set of texts began with that. "Owen loves me, and I will always be the girl he loves. He will be with me while your lonely, ugly ass is alone." So it sounds like teenagers just talking crap to each other, right? And so, "You are worthless and mean nothing." Others said, "Kill yourself now, bitch." And these things they kept continuing and kept getting worse and worse. And it caused some strain in the relationship because Lauren has to be like, well, is what this person saying true? Or is this just a girl who is jealous and wants Owen to herself, but Owen isn't actually doing any of this? And Owen says, I'm not cheating. I'm not doing any of this. I don't want to be with anybody else. And so, especially in teen years, you're like, I don't know what to think. Like, why would somebody sit here and say this if it wasn't true? Or like, this is just ridiculous. So it brought on a lot of chaos, a lot of stress. Um, and although in the beginning it just sounds like somebody who is like, oh, I want to be with Owen, you shouldn't be with him, like type stuff. But then it gets to the point where in the 11, like 2 years, basically, it goes from just picking on about the relationship to telling Lauren she should just kill herself, unalive herself, which is so sick and vile. Like, do not tell people that. Like, no. So, at this point in the story, you might think, okay, well, who is sending these texts? Could Owen or Lauren be sending these texts anonymously somehow to themselves because they want to break up, but they don't want to hurt the other person's feelings, so they just have some random person come in and say stuff that's not true? That seems weird, right? Um, and so it just keeps going, and they keep getting more and more text, such as, only one of you got voted on the homecoming court. This is epic. Friday will be epic when it's announced. The look on your faces watching one of you with your arm around another person, holding hands, and being all adorable, smiling, flirting, posing. Could this be the end of the AKA golden couple with the relationship everyone idolizes? We promise you will break up. You know he's cheating. F you, we just won. He met us after. Plan is in action. It will for sure. Uh, no more golden couple. You saw what he said about you. He for sure hates you. And when they say for sure, it's used as FS. Something teenagers write. So he for sure hates you. Sucks to suck. He ain't talking to your sorry ass. He's talking to us. How it feels to lose. You're FN trash. We all hate you. Worthless hoe. You effing jealous bitch. Fucking told him. Didn't want to talk to him. He begged and promised. Try not to try. He effing picked us and can't go back with fucking in something bitch. He didn't even want to talk to you. Now we run your life. You effing did this. Tells her about how ugly she's, an ugly anorexic bitch ass. She's ugly. You you effing suck. You're effing reason that the JV team lost and you went in the only varsity game we lose. You didn't do shit. You fucking proved it again. And then sends her a picture of herself with the vomiting emoji and wrote anorexic trash garbage on it and all that. So, and then there's also disgusting things where this person is talking about sexual acts that they did or is going to do with Owen. And so you can see all of this can be stressing everybody out. Like, who is it? Why is this person texting these things? Why do they want to break us up? Like, why does somebody hate me this much? And, can I trust what this person is saying? But I've been with this guy, like, and he says he doesn't know. And they also talk to friend groups and people. So, like, the whole school knew about everything that was going on. So that's why I think other people might have been included in the group text. And so everybody, it wasn't like just a thing that was happening between Lauren and Owen and this unknown anonymous person. The whole school knew everything that was going on. So everybody was talking about it and who could it be and all of that. But it was very stressful. And they did tell their parents, thankfully, about what was going on. So them getting the parents involved. This is a picture of Lauren and her mom, Kendra, and her dad, Sean Licardi. Um, and so these parents are hearing what their daughter is going through, right? And they're like, this is ridiculous. Enough is enough. And they had talked to other parents and Owen's parents and everything that were like, we need to go to the school. We need to maybe talk to law enforcement, everybody. So they go and they talk to the school, and the school does amazing. They start to see, they start, they've got all the messages printed out, and they show them. And then the school even like looked through camera footage. And then they had set up a thing where Lauren, anytime she got a message, would text the principal or superintendent, and then they would go and look through the school camera footage to see if they could find anybody on their phone at the time that that message was sent, to see if they could narrow down who this person was. And so, like, everybody was taking this seriously. And so they did further and further investigation. Like I said, this went on for 2 years. And pretty much from jump, the school was trying to research it and find out who it was and everything else. And that brings us to one of their first suspects. So this was one of the suspects in who was the anonymous, unknown cyber stalker. This is Chloe Wilson. She and Lauren didn't really get along. They didn't like each other. Uh, which you're not going to get along with everybody, but um, They apparently had some beef. I don't know what over, but Chloe and Owen were still friends. She has since said that the whole she wasn't invited to her Halloween party that her mom threw for her, whatever, that she didn't know Lauren wasn't invited or how that rumor got started or whatever. So that could have been unknown texts maybe, or somebody told other people. I don't know. That is just what Netflix put out there, that she didn't invite Lauren. But if they don't get along, why would she? So whether she was allowed to come or she couldn't come or whatever, it doesn't matter. Um, but they thought that Chloe was the one sending them. And at this point, at first it was just a couple messages here and there. Then maybe 5 or 6 throughout the day, and then sometimes it would be like 50 to 60 in a day of texts. And they really didn't have any solid proof, um, but they wanted to look through everything. And poor Chloe, her world was turned upside down too, because, Owen was like, "Did you send these?" And she's like, no, I didn't send these. I don't even, what are these? Like, of course I didn't send them. I'm not behind this. Um, she says she didn't even know that the text had started until much later than most. So she wasn't going to be in the group. That's why I don't know who I was in this group chat or group text thing. I do know that the school eventually everybody knew. And maybe it's because they were going around talking to all the students. But the principal and all that, they looked into Chloe. Then even law enforcement also looked into Chloe. Chloe is not behind this. They also looked at another girl, Adrina, I think. Adriana. I'm It's something like that. I'm so sorry. Um, Found out she wasn't behind it either. And so they're all back to square one, because the girls that they think it might be, all that, there was also a Christmas party. It was a it was like a family Christmas party, and there might have been some friends there or whatever, but there's a picture that comes out of this apparently in the text messages, and it's a picture of Lauren or whoever at this Christmas party. And they knew that it had to be somebody close to them, because they always knew what Lauren was wearing, and so they would comment about her outfit, and I know I'm saying "and" a lot. So this was like, okay, this is somebody really, really close, because how would somebody get this picture? And so that's why you're like, well, did Lauren send it to herself? But it's taken of her. This is where I wasn't for sure, but I started to question, is it one of the adults and not one of the kids at the Christmas party, unless there's other teenagers that go to the school as well that are at this Christmas party, and maybe it's one of Lauren's cousins or something like that, right? But this part, I started to be like, who could it be? Lo and behold, it is none other than this bitch right here, Kendra Locardi, the mother of Lauren Locardi. Her mother was the one sending these messages. And how they found out was the FBI got involved and started pulling records and looking at different things and IP addresses. And all the IP addresses for those messages came back to her. And this is where you're like, what the hell? Because in the documentary, this mother has been commenting about this story. Like, she's just Lauren's mom, and she was really concerned. And, she did actually go up to the school with some other mothers and things like that. And they have her on body cam admitting that she did this, and she's in front of her daughter. I was disturbed in this video of the body cam footage because they're sitting there. The dad is not there at this point, and she is like, I just got carried away. I didn't send the first ones. I really, when I started this, that when they started back 11 months later, that's when it was Kendra. And she was trying to do it to see if she says, so she could figure out who was actually doing it originally to her daughter. But some say it probably was her the whole time. And like I said, she called her an ugly whore. Told her to effing kill herself, bitch. If you don't, I will, or we will. She used proper teenage slang and acronyms and all that. She talked like them. She called her anorexic, told her clothes were ugly, talked about sexual acts with Lauren's boyfriend. This grown woman was talking about sexual acts with a 14-year-old boy. This woman should be a sex offender, in my opinion. She is a predator. She is a PDF file. I don't care how you put it. The fact that she was saying those things, and she just got so far into things and she couldn't stop, and it was like she was a different person, all these excuses. But the things that she said about a teenage boy and what she wanted to do to that teenage boy was no. Mm-mm. She needs to be in jail. She should never be around children ever again. I don't think that she should talk to her daughter again. I don't get to be the decision maker on that, but if I was the other parent, I would be like, no. But like I said, in this body cam footage, she has admitted to this in front of her daughter. And her daughter is just sitting there, like, kind of still. She's not saying anything. And her mom is, like, has her arm on her. She's hugging her daughter. And her daughter's letting her. And I am like, what is happening here? Because this is not the end of the movie or the documentary. So I'm thinking, well, at this point, was Lauren a part of this? Why is she just sitting there after finding out her mom is the one that did this to her? She later, she says that like she was kind of in shock. She didn't know what to think. Like, could they have it wrong? Like, surely my mom wouldn't do this to me. Um, she didn't really, she was just, is this really happening? I can't believe this is actually true. And so that could have been a part of it. Because I know if it was me, I would be like, you're the one behind these. Get off of me. Don't touch me. I don't want to see your face. Don't hug me. No, you did this to me. You messed with your daughter's mental health so badly. You ruined a relationship. You ruined friendships. She is going to have serious trust issues for the rest of her life. Thank goodness she didn't unalive herself, because some would have. And her mom does make an excuse for that. She's like, because somebody asked her, were you ever worried that she was going to unalive herself? Because you told her to do it. And she's like, no, I knew she wouldn't do that. She's not that type of person. And I mean, I guess if y'all are around her and you're being that strong, supportive family and you're like, no, I've got your back, like nobody's going to hurt you. And you can say nobody's going to hurt you to your daughter because you know whether you're going to hurt her or not, as far as physically harming her or something like that. But it could have become too much for some teens. And this could have even been a bigger tragedy than it was. But it's like, well, because it didn't get there, no biggie? No, absolutely not. I cannot imagine anybody doing this to one of their kids. It, this woman is insane, crazy. She needs major help, meds, therapy. I don't know what else for her. Jail, everything. And mind you, in this documentary, she's in civilian clothes. She is not in jail clothes in this documentary. There's her like looking creepily as she looks like when she would text. Like she just seemed out of it when she was doing things during this time period. But there's more about this lady that gets uncovered because of this. So here is Dad on the day that the body cam footage also shows Kendra, Lauren's mom, admitting to being the one behind the text messages. And he is like, are you kidding me? What do you mean she's the one behind them? Because that was another thing, is they were like, how does somebody have this much time on their hands to send all these messages? Because these text messages were like a full-time job. Which is why when they weren't seeing anybody on cameras at the school and stuff, they would even look around in classes. They would say stuff around certain people to see if it got back to them. If it was mentioned in the text messages that somebody might have overheard. But it goes back. But he also finds out on this day that the reason that his wife has had all this free time is that the two jobs she was supposedly working were not a thing anymore. I think he knew about one of her, and she supposedly got laid off or let go or something like that. But there was another one in Texas or something too, or maybe that's the one she supposedly was still saying she had, but she didn't, and had been lying about this for like 6 months. Or maybe she just lied about being let go, but she was actually fired. Um, I don't know what for. They didn't really go into that, but Like this lady is living like this double life. I don't know how their banking accounts or something must not be together, or he must be the one. No, he doesn't pay the bills because I saw on something else that they had been evicted or something because certain bills weren't paid, but I didn't understand how somebody didn't notice financially that she wasn't getting checks anymore. Um, for 6 months especially, so that might be something that is actually wrong, but I don't know how, unless he just doesn't pay attention to that stuff, and she says she takes care of it, and so he just doesn't know. My dad didn't really know the finances. My mom handled all of it. Thankfully she's good with money, but um, he went to work, all that, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm paying the bills." She wasn't paying bills. She wasn't working. She was texting constantly. He has a proper reaction. And he's like, "You can get out." And Kendra's like, "No, I can't leave my daughter. I want to stay here and I want to be with her." And it's like, He's like, "Call your parents and get out." He calls them and they're like, "They're on their way to come get you because you ain't staying here." Nope. They did end up divorcing. And he did end up getting full custody of Lauren in the divorce as well. Because, yeah, this this girl don't need to be around any children. She don't need to be around anybody. She needs she needs to go to the psych ward. Cause one, it's not that she just did it, but what we need to do is figure out why. Because when people can find themselves doing things like that, yes, they're wrong, they're crazy, and usually they know that when they do these things, but they say they don't have the ability to stop. It just becomes an addiction and something that consumes them, and they just continue to do these things. So to be there has to be a reason for it. Is it because you're an attention seeker? Why are you an attention seeker? Did you not get enough attention as a kid, or did you feel like you didn't? Did something happen? What triggers these things? And so she needs, because until she can figure out those things, she's not going to stop her behavior. She could be a pathological liar. But what caused her to do this? Because I don't buy the excuse, "I was just trying to figure out who had sent the messages originally, and then you just got carried away." I'm not buying it. This man had a proper reaction, and he stood his ground, and he did what was best for his daughter. Thank goodness. And he was not a part of this. From what I can tell, some think that he was also behind it as well. I don't know that he was, based on his reaction, but that's just me. Y'all let me know what you think if you've watched this, what you think about Lauren's dad, Sean. So here Kendra is in the documentary, crying when it gets to the part of things and they're asking her the questions. And I get really ticked off during this portion. After the whole "what the hell, she actually did this" shock, she says, "Everyone can commit crimes. We all commit crimes every day. People do it all the time. And, some people don't get caught. There's people that drink and drive and they don't get caught or whatever." And she's like, "I got caught and mine is a headline. But I'm just like everybody else. I'm just a normal mom." Like, that seems to be a huge thing right now with um, the Karen Reed trial. You could even say it in the Laura Owens with Jan. You've got it in the Donna Adelson, uh, even talking about Wendy and Donna. We're just normal moms. Normal moms doing things, and everybody makes mistakes. Mine just happened to be this. Bitch, no. No, everybody is not just equal to you. I'm sorry. You are the scum of the earth. You did this stuff to a child. You said sexual things about a child. No. When everybody just, she didn't say speeding ticket. To me, that's kind of how I took it and was like, well, everybody gets a speeding ticket and that's them breaking the law too. I just cyber stalked my daughter who could have unalived herself and talked about a 14-year-old boy as a grown ass woman and the ways that sexual activities could happen with us. But hey, I'm just a normal mom. Get out of my face. Get the fuck out of here. Straight to jail. Straight to jail. Lock it and throw away the key, in my opinion. So, in the end, she does go to jail. She um, is charged with cyber stalking and she gets 18 months in jail. A year and a half. For the stuff she did for 2 years. The mental anguish that she put on her own child, who's the biggest victim in this, Owen as well, and then other victims, other kids that were brought in that were, looked at as criminals and suspects and stuff and had their privacy violated because of this woman. She gets 18 months. She is not a sex offender. She has not been charged with any sex crimes. I think she should be. And some of them want to say it's a form of Munchausen's. I think she got a slap on the wrist, in my opinion, for the things she did. I get it's a first time offense. She has no prior criminal history or record. So they're going to give her leniency for that. She also came forward and admitted it. Initially, she did try to hide her phones from the police when they were there. But by the time they left with that original day that she confessed to it, and they're like, hey, we know it's you. And she couldn't deny it anymore, basically, with the proof in front of her. They ended up getting the phones. And so off she went. I don't know if she got any medical treatment while she was in there. I don't know if she talked to a therapist. I don't know if necessarily if jail was the right thing. Maybe she should have been in a psych place. Maybe people like this need to do part-time jail, part-time psych ward. Get your treatment and then go finish your time in jail. I don't know what the answer. I mean, jail is bad, but sometimes jail is not enough. And some of these people are going to keep offending until things are fixed within them. No, she's not going to be able to do this exact thing, but that doesn't mean that there's not other psychological warfare that she could cause on somebody. And she's a very good actor. If you've watched the documentary, she can act like she's a caring person. She's a loving wife. She's trustworthy. She's responsible, straight to your face. And you won't ever second guess it because nobody saw it coming. Sure, she was an attention seeker for all her life, but she loved her daughter. And I truly believe she loves her daughter. I do. And some may say, no, she doesn't love her because why would you do this? But the thing is what she did is something she knew it was wrong. So it's not an insanity defense. Like she can't say she didn't know what she was doing was right from wrong, but there was something in her that made her attack her daughter. I don't know if it was her lust for Owen. I don't know if she just needed to tear somebody down, so she did that. I really don't know. But she was good with IT because she did this through phone apps that, just used other numbers because they did try to like block the numbers. And one of the first hints in this actually is people are like, block the number. But then they're like, well, they would block it and then a new number would come, would send the messages. And then they talked about changing the kids' phones or phone numbers. And this mom was like, well, should she have to change her number? Um, that's her right and these things. Do we need to do this? She in the end didn't decide to. Could she have? Yeah. And she could have actually still continued cyber stalking her because who would have her number? Her mom would have her new number. But if nobody knew this girl's new number, which eventually people would know this girl's new number, like if she stopped after a while and then once she had had this new number for a little bit, like act like she got it again and started texting her. But if she continued doing it right after the new number got out or she got the new number and nobody had been told the new number yet, then it would be like, okay, there's only like two people that know my new number or three people or whatever. Like the pool would have been a lot smaller and she would have been found out a lot sooner. So I think that's part of the reason that she didn't get her daughter a new phone number because that was weird too. But that's not the part that I was like, why wouldn't you just get her a new phone number? Like it was the family Christmas party thing that I was like, it's one of the adults, isn't it? My daughter had watched it even before me because I was like, "Hey, you should watch this and we can talk about it because we have discussions like this and watch some of the same things sometimes." And she's like, "I already watched it." And I said, "Okay, I'm gonna watch it and then we can talk about it." And she was just turning it on to go to sleep, and then she got so hooked on it she couldn't go to sleep. And she was livid. She was so mad. Um, she didn't tell me the ending, and she was like, "I couldn't believe it, Mom. Like you would never. Like I cannot. Like why would she do that?" So she was pretty angry. And I've talked to a lot of the teens that have seen this movie too. I've talked to her friends. I've talked to my son's girlfriend, longtime girlfriend, if she had seen it, and other people, because I'm glad the teens have seen it. Because I hope that they know, go to somebody. I mean, tell your parents, because most likely it's not your parents. And everybody did the right thing in this case. All the parents, the school did the right thing, actually. They didn't like brush it off or try to hide it or shed any responsibility type thing. Law enforcement took it seriously. So everything was done right in this case. And that's something we don't always see in some of these cases, too. But 18 months, 18 months for 2 years of hell. So, Sean got affected by his wife. His wife was she was actually the breadwinner, and he just worked at an auto body shop. And he said it was crazy because he got the phone call from work, from the police, and they were like, "Hey, we figured it out." And he's like, "Finally." Like, and then the cops are like, "Unfortunately, it's your wife." And so he did. He looked so broken when he found out who it was. He just didn't think anything. He just let his wife handle everything. Um, he didn't react in the video because, well, he didn't want to go to jail too, even though he wanted to. Um, and his daughter didn't need to have more stuff happen. Let's say they got divorced. He says, "I just can't believe she would do something like to her daughter that supposedly she loved dearly. It just makes him sick. She stabbed me in the heart, shot me in the heart, and threw it away." Um, Apparently, Kendra ended up pleading to 2 counts of stalking a minor. So one for Lauren and one for Owen. And that was like the 18 months in March of 2023. Um, but yeah, I mean, he now went from having this loving family, his wife, and his daughter. They were very close knit. They did a lot of things together. They were in this small town. And also, remember, just living in this small town where everybody knows his business and knows that his wife was the one behind all of this. Imagine what they went to, because they stayed there because Lauren ended up graduating from there, from Bill High School. And they say, Lauren is leaning on her dad. Um, he used to cheer for her and take her hunting and do things with her, but their bond has grown a lot more since this has all happened. And he's relishing at the chance to watch her enjoy her normal young adult life. He said it's fun to watch her smile and giggle and be a kid and do stupid things like we all used to do. She's just growing up to be a beautiful woman. And I think that I think he's been really great in this because he's had to be there where one of the people that supposedly is supposed to love her more than anything in the world unconditionally, and the moms and dads are supposed to protect their children, but they're the ones that actually hurt the children. It's hard. And at the same time, the dad is like, "I'm done with this woman. I cannot have her a part of this. And I don't want her to have a part of my daughter's life or be near her because of what she did," which is the right steps. He's being a good father and protecting her from the person that hurt her. But he also has to, Lauren's got to be going through so much mentally because it is her mom. And so, well, you may not like her, and he probably wishes the same thing that I did, that this woman never has anything to do with our kid anymore. It's not that simple because kids love their parents, good or bad. Kids love their parents. Um, and Lauren has much more grace and forgiveness in her heart than I do. I think that's a testament to how she was raised, but oddly, she doesn't have hatred for her mother. She has been able to forgive her mom. She is not allowed to have physical contact with her, like they're not allowed to see each other. They they do message um, and talk to each other, but and they wrote while they were, while she was in jail or prison for this crime, and she's just she's so she's broken about it because I've loved my mom and known her my whole life, and this is not the person that did this to me is not the same person who's been my mom. And my mom had to be sick or something to have done this to me. Like something is wrong with her. Like she has empathy or sympathy for her mom. And props to her, because I would be like, no, F you. It would take a really, really, really long time for me to even want to see or talk to my mother again if my mother did this type of thing. But not Lauren. She still has a little bit of a relationship with her mom. So a family torn apart by a mother's vile action of wanting attention, needing to be needed. Some say that she wanted her daughter to need her, or she wanted her daughter's attention so much that she caused an issue to hurt her so that her daughter then would lean on her. Her mom's hurting her so that her daughter will come to her mom about somebody hurting her and being mean to her. A family that was great one day. Seemed like a lovely family. Close knit. Destroyed by this woman, Kendra's actions. Um, I said Owen and Lauren broke up. They actually don't talk to each other. Um, Owen's parents, obviously, very pissed off. Um, some wonder if Lauren and her mom were both behind it. I don't know about that. And it's just sad because it ruined relationships, it ruined friendships, it ruined a mother-daughter bond. And it's just, it really is. It kind of makes you speechless somewhat because it's something that's just so unbelievable. Her and her mother do bond, or her dad and her bonded, everything they do, they try to find a way to laugh at it. Uh, she says, I've talked to her about it, but not necessarily like, why did you tell me to unalive myself? I still question every day. Like, I still don't know why she said that to me. She does want her mom back in her life. She likes communicating with her mom. They sent emails back and forth, like I said. They haven't been allowed to see each other since she's been out of prison. She would like to see her mom again when the time is right. So I don't know if she's actually ready to fully see her mom currently. And Lauren says, I hope me and my mom can build our relationship because I feel like I'm definitely missing a part of me. Now that she's out of prison, I want her to get the help that she needs so that when we see each other, it doesn't go back to the old ways of how it was before. Being without that relationship, I think, is really hurting me. And I think rebuilding our relationship will help both of us a lot. I love her more than anything. So she still loves her mom. That's her mom. And she's not turning her back on her. She thinks her mom does need help and that what her mom did to her was wrong, but she is opening to still having that, which is great for Lauren. And I guess great for Kendra that she has such a forgiving daughter. But if you've watched this, let me know what you think. Um, do you think that Lauren was in on it? Do you think that 18 months is fair? Should she be considered a predator? Would you have forgiveness in your heart for your mom if they did this to you? I want to hear from you. Let's chat about this. This is just an unbelievable, shocking story that should never be a thing. We try to protect our kids from the unknowns online, the strangers, the people that we don't know anything about that could hurt you, could kidnap you, teens say a lot of things. They can, all that. And we don't want our kids to deal with any of that. But when it's coming from inside your house, from the person you love most in the world, what do you do? Do you think the dad was a part of it? Let me know. I will see you next time. Bye.